this over there. Good afternoon, each and every last one of you guys out there. I am the infamous Miss Rhoda Your Life, where it's my great pleasure to introduce to you guys Dr. Anderson here at Hampton Roads. Yes, you heard it right. Dr. Anderson is here on the platform today to speak to y'all about injustice in our own race. How you doing, Dr. Anderson?
I'm doing fine, Miss Rhoda.
It's been a while since I spoke with you.
Yes, but it's a pleasure always to speak with you.
And same here.
Yes.
It's good to see you.
Oh, you too, my sister. Love you.
I love you more. What's going on there, Dr. Anderson? I know you fight a lot for the veterans and everything like that, but allegedly, I heard that you filed a lawsuit in the federal courts against a judge in the federal courts and also a lawsuit against a lawyer. Can you tell me more about that?
Okay, we want to we actually correct that. I have several lawsuits within the federal court. However, the chief judge at the United States Eastern District Federal Court in downtown Norfolk actually held my actual case hostage dealing with discrimination in fair housing.
Wow.
He was coerced to do this by the second largest law firm in our state that I won't go to right now. However, I began to do some work research because I could not understand, as an individual who's a civil rights activist, advocate for the disabled American veterans, and community activist, why am I being so attacked every time I try to make a move to do something that's going to better the lives of our people? I'm attacked, and I'm like, something has to be done about this. So what I did, number one, I prayed about it. And as I was on my computer, I did some research. So I contacted the United States Appeals Court in Richmond, Virginia. And I submitted a complaint in regards to the chief judge at the federal court where we have the actual veterans $750 million lawsuit since July 1, 2019. And then I had another case that I filed in 2018 dealing with this is a complaint in that actual court. And the judge refused to allow the case to go any further. And I had to contact the United States Attorney General in Washington, D.C. to find out if they would help me to find out why my case was just held hostage. In other words, I filed everything that I was supposed to as a pro se litigant. And it was like everything stood still.
Wow.
And I kept on trying to find out from the court what happened. They just said, well, they haven't made a ruling on it. But it doesn't take over 90 days to make a decision.
Right.
So what happened was the United States Attorney General actually involved themselves. And once that happened, they released my case, asked me to actually amend it. I amended the case. And once I amended the case, they came back and actually dismissed it because of an informal papyrus.
Wow.
Now, informal papyrus is filing without fees, okay? That was okay when I initially filed the paperwork for that and then filed a complaint. Everything was fine. They said okay.
Right.
But there is this law firm that has um, individuals on their staff who will actually have influence in just about every avenue within our Hampton Roads area.
Wow.
And they're the ones who stopped my case because apparently my case was worthy of $25 million that I'm filing for, which you can see on the last. So punitive damages and damages will carry me through this hardship that I'm going. In fact, I'm sorry. This is, I think it's the second one right here. I have it on the last page. The damages that I wanted in order to rectify the reasons why this is happening to me. And I mean, it's thorough. And what it involves is fair housing, discrimination, uh, and
Excuse me. It said, in according to foregoing, plaintiff Vivian A. Anderson claims damages against defendants as compensation rental reimbursement of $13,750, travel expenses of $600, mental anguish 500. Is that 5 million?
I'm sorry, where's that?
5,769,450.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Expected loss $1,000, of a lifetime interest $4,000, of her property $1,000, $1,1200, loss of her stability, reputation $350,000, protection and care is $130,000, and residence is $20,200. Punitive damages $10.355 million. Attorney fees, Pinnacle 45U point S point C, 1988 B, 8,354 and $800. Total damages is $25 million. She is suing the federal courts.
Yes, that was the one in 2018.
Wow.
So what happened was I did some more research, and I filed in April of this year this initial complaint the exact way I did the initial one that you just read.
Right.
This is for $35 million.
So now she have a new one for $35 million.
And this is the breakdown of it.
And this is an edited one from the one I just read, amended.
No, this is a new one that has more information because since 2018 up until now, a great deal more have happened as far as damages.
So let me ask you this: so do that lawsuit still stand its thing, of 25 million plus this one for 35 million?
No, that is the one. It's the new one, which is actually now 35, additional 10 million.
Okay, because the prices don't went up.
Yes,
the price don't went up. Okay, so travel expenses gonna be 800. Mental anguish, $6.8 million. Expected loss of a lifetime investment, $71,000. Of lifetime investment of property, $130,000. Of his property, $48,200. Loss of plaintiff stability, $350,000. Protective care, $250,000. Punitive damages, $15.8 million, plus the $25 million lawsuit, which comes to a total of $35,800,000.
yes.
And why are you asking for so much money? And on what grounds do you feel as though you and your clients deserve so much pay?
Because this is actually my personal lawsuit,
Okay.
but the other is the veterans lawsuit.
So
And
this is your personal.
Yes, dealing with fair housing. I have been discriminated against and also uh, lied on, and the defendants actually initiated fraud. They told lies as a investigation,
Wow.
and they influenced the board in actual Richmond to not allow me to respond to the investigation, which is totally inappropriate. I should have had to respond because they didn't want me to elaborate on the lies they continue to tell. So I like, okay, I'm gonna get really deep into this. This was done in April. The case was actually filed in April this year,
Okay.
April 27th, 2021. They did the exact same thing as they did in 2018 as far as holding my case hostage. So I contacted the United States Court of Appeal for the Fourth Circuit in Richmond, Virginia. And I was thoroughly thorough as far as what was going on. And I would like to understand why a chief judge would violate his duties and actually violate judicial, um, attacks on an innocent person who just want to petition the court and have a fair trial. Right. We all have that right, but they want to rob me of that. So when I submitted this complaint to the appeals court, they came back and let me know that the actual complaint was accepted, and they went have the complaint under a code which he violated, and also letting me know that a judge will actually be investigating the actual case.
So let me ask you this: Have out of all these lawsuits, how many lawsuits do you have going on inside the federal courts right now?
At this present time,
Two lawsuits.
The veterans case has been in there since 2019. And in December of 2020, the court allowed the defendants not to respond to any of our motions, which left fraud on the court. They just stopped. They like somebody froze to death. And we kept waiting until May 13th of 2021. And the Chief Justice in that court had a magistrate to write up an order, and I put it before the judge that we were actually appointed, which is Honorable Judge Raymond A. Jackson, Afro-American judge, who has a very good heart, but they put in front of him something that the chief judge asked his magistrate to do, to sign off on. That isn't fair. We should have access to the judge that was appointed to our case.
So right now, what are you looking for, and why haven't none of these cases been heard?
This is why I asked for an investigation. And thank the Father, I'm going to get it. That means he possibly could be removed from that actual court due to the fact that he's done this twice. And what's going to happen is the entire federal court will be investigated.
Wow.
Okay.
So do you think personally they are holding up your... So I think what Dr. Anderson is saying to us is a personal vendetta against her. All the cases that she feels as though she's bringing forth through the federal courts, and she have them properly written, are been held up. She got cases from 2018, also one from 2019.
Yes.
And none of them have been heard to this day.
They have been, like the veterans case, we actually asked for a trial by jury. But for some reason, in December, once we submitted our motion with affidavits and exhibits, the defendants no longer responded to the court.
Wow.
So that puts fraud on the court. And the judge allowed them to do this.
Wow.
In other words, it's almost like he flipped the situation to do more favor to the defendants than for the plaintiffs. And we're the one who filed the actual case. Wow. They do that to us all the time, thinking that we're not intelligent enough to know about law and everyone should study. Because we wasn't taught that in school unless you go actually utilizing your education to become a lawyer, judge, or whatever it may be. You need to know your rights and how to execute those rights when you see things such as what I've been dealing with. And the whole situation is where I live, the the actual legal representative had the audacity to have me arrested on multiple occasions without any reason to do so. He had put people up to tell lies and when they get warrants to have me actually arrested to try to make me look like a criminal.
They arrested you?
Yes.
How many times have you been arrested?
I got more. I got 10 fingers.
Wow.
But it's more.
And
only because, see, I'm always getting involved in violations of civil rights. And we've been having this going on for decades. So when anyone take a stance, they feel like you're lost in a crowd and you're by yourself. But see, a lot of our people don't understand that they have, the same privileges of any person that's in the United States, that's governed by the United States Constitution and the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
What is the 1964 Civil Rights Act?
That happened during the time that our founding father, Martin Luther King, who actually wanted to help his people, like our father had Moses to go tell Pharaoh that let my people go, so that they can be able to go and enjoy the fruits that they deserve to enjoy without having a Pharaoh to basically work them to death and kill them and just treat them wrong. He got them out of actually Egypt and wanted to get them into the promised land. But unfortunately, the great grandchildren were the ones who got there, along with Caleb and Joshua.
Can I ask you this? Who is the person that filed multiple charges to cause you, such a sweet older lady, to be arrested?
The actual legal representative coerced other people to do this. First one was the property manager.
Where you live at?
Yes. When you have a fair housing discrimination complaint, people don't know how serious that is. You break certain codes and actual violations of the Fair Housing Act, you can go to prison. And I have information here from the FBI Bureau Investigation Federal Civil Rights Statute. And this individual broke all of them, and I'll name them. Title 18 U.S.C. Section 241, Conspiracy Against Rights. Title 18 U.S.C. Section 242, Deprivation of Rights under Color of Law. Title 18 U.S.C. Section 245, Federally Protective Activity. Title 42 U.S.C. Section 3631, Criminal Interference with Rights to Fair Housing. All of those were broke, and also the one Fair Housing Act 42 U.S.C. Section 17, where there should not be any intimidation, retaliation, humiliation, threats, or coercion towards anyone who took the initiative to file a Fair Housing Act, because everyone should be able to live in their home and enjoy the peace and quietness in their own environment. I haven't been able to do that because they feel because I filed this discrimination fair housing complaint that they want me out of that place. But I'm not going anywhere because I own my property.
You own your property?
Yes, I do, but I'm only renting the actual land that my home is sitting on.
So how do that work? If you own your house, but your house is on land.
In other words, I live in a manufacturing village within Chesapeake, the city of Chesapeake. And it's a beautiful village. And as an elderly person, I wanted to purchase one of the actual manufacturing homes, which I have 3 bedrooms, 2 full bath, kitchen, and living room. That's just enough for me. And because I filed this representative has gotten the neighbors next door to me to basically vandalize my property, damage my car, which now is not operable, and do whatever's necessary to punch hole in my vinyl siding. In other words, to try to slowly disface my property.
Wow.
That's against the law. And they thought that I'm stupid enough to sit there and let this continue to go on because it's been going on for 7 years. And I've always made it notes. I've always kept all the information in order to bring a strong case against the management, property manager, and definitely the legal representative, because he is the person who's causing all of the problems. He is influencing the defendants to take actions that never should be involved in uh, anyone filing a fair housing discrimination complaint. That's very serious.
Right.
Someone can go to jail.
Right.
And it will not be Dr. Anderson.
Dr. Anderson, so the neighbors are just pressing charges on you because they're being led by the management team.
Definitely, yes, they allegedly are. Because, see, when you have an actual lease agreement and you follow everything in that lease to the T as far as your opportunity to be in that complex, you have a lease agreement, which is my contract. And my contract stipulates in here all the violations that have happened in the past 7 years that I initially brought the actual fair housing complaint.
Can I ask you this right here? It's been 7 years that this thing been going on with you. Why do you choose to stay and why do you choose not to leave?
Because I haven't done anything to actually have that actually thrust upon me. Mm-hmm. I have not broken any law. I have not breached any lease. I haven't done anything, but because of the retaliation against me, because I have filed a discrimination housing complaint, that I don't care where you are, if you actually have the proof and you start filing these action complaints with fair housing in Richmond, you will be retaliated against.
Let me ask you this. What caused you to file the original complaint on the management team?
Because I asked the manager, if I'm paying to rent your lot and I'm keeping that lot well taken care of, cutting it grass, trimming and all of that, those tall trees that you have on your lot, you should be able to have them trimmed. But they say, no, I'm supposed to be obligated to do that. And I said, no, you have it wrong. You are, because I'm paying you to rent your lot. And for some reason, they thought I did not have knowledge enough to know, okay, what I'll do is put my rent in escrow and we would go before a judge. And once I said that, they trimmed those trees.
Wow.
And then they see no individual who engage in this type of activity. They want to do all of the retaliation and doing things to you that because a lawyer feels that he has the right, he or she sometimes have a right to come after someone to harm them if they don't do something that they feel that they're supposed to do. But you don't retaliate against someone and then break the law itself when someone just asks for the services that they deserve for actually renting your actual lot.
How important is people putting their money into escrow if they're not living in the proper living conditions? How important is that for tenants?
Very important.
Can you explain that to some young
Okay.
folks that's out here that
Yeah.
don't really understand? Dr. Anderson, they think if they have an issue with their landlord, and I need for this to get across to them, they think that if they have an issue with their landlord, they settle the matter with keeping their rent money. Is that the right way to go about it or the wrong?
No, they should not hold, they should go and place it in escrow at the actual court. Ask to file escrow, and I think you do that in the general district court, and have you have a actual day appointed where you can go before the judge and present the reason that you place your rent in escrow. There are so many a tenant assurance. You can file that also to let the judge know that I'm not being treated properly by the management when I'm actually paying my rent on time, keeping my property up, doing everything I'm supposed to do, but I'm not receiving anything from the management, especially if they are slumlords.
Right.
They just want the money. They don't care not about how to keep or anything, but you have to take the initiative and not be afraid, because you have more rights than the doggone person who's renting to you.
Wow.
And that is so important for people to understand. I've been there 18 years, never missed rent, paid on time. And I want them to execute this, my contract. They refuse to. So then I said, then we'll go to court.
Let me ask you this. Since he got so many different people allegedly to file charges on you, why he cannot get you off the property?
Because I have more rights than he. He's a lawyer, but he can't even find any reason to have me uh, evicted or put off my property, because I have not broken any law. I haven't violated the contract. I have not done any
How
of
long is
that.
your lease?
How long?
Yeah.
18 years old. 18 years.
You signed a lease for 18 years.
Yes.
Oh, you can sign a lease for 18 years.
That's how long I've been out there. That's my home. I paid for it in cash.
Yeah, okay, you paid for your home in cash, but you said your house is on your manufactured house is on his land.
All the land out there, everyone's home is stationed on the prop. We have triple wide, double wide,
Mobile
single
living.
wide.
Mobile
Yes,
living.
manufacturer's home.
Right, manufactured. I'm just
Yes.
saying mobile for the ones that don't understand that.
Yes.
Manufactured. But why can't he ask you or get the courts to get you and off his property with your trailer?
Because the fact is, he has nothing to take to the court.
What about the lease? How long is the leases for?
As long as you want to live out there.
So he really don't want you gone because he don't have to renew your lease.
The lease, you don't renew it each year. It's automatically rolls over.
Right.
And over and over again.
But he can cancel it at any time.
No, he cannot.
Why is that?
He has no reason.
So
No legal reason to do that. But he wrote me a letter saying that.
So you telling me if you stay on somebody's property and you buy a manufactured home, you can stay there as long as you want to?
As long as you see fit, yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, ma'am. That's by law.
Oh.
And it's written in the contract.
Oh, it's written in the contract?
Yes, ma'am. Everything.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So he have no reason to get rid of you off the property?
No, he's only the legal representative. He's not the management. He's not the owner. He's just representing them.
And the owner don't have no rights to get you off the property?
None.
Wow.
And not only that, he's written me multiple letters since 2017 trying to build up a case against me. And it all actually comes to nothing and tells me that we give you 30 days to actually vacate and without penalty.
And what did you say? What was your response to that?
Zero. I didn't have to respond because he knew by law he had no right to do that. This is why I'm sharing with you Title 42 USC Section 3631, criminal interference with right to fair housing.
Wow.
That's violated.
Wow. Wow, you a bad sister.
Have to be. You have to know the
Dr.
law.
Anderson is a bad sister, baby. She
I'm
said you
telling
had
you.
to know the law.
You have to.
I said, what was your response to that? She said, zero. I ain't had to.
Because, see, in the 80s, I worked for Legal Services Corporation in Washington, D.C., studying to become a civil rights attorney. And I ended up working with the Tidewater Legal Aid Society here in our Hampton Roads area, bringing in $2.5 million to open up other offices because of the need for low-income people who were not educated about knowing their rights.
Wow. Wow. What is it that you want them to know about where you at? And what is it that you want the judge, the federal judge, to know about this case that he have been holding hostage according to your words?
I want him to understand that he cannot stop me to petition the court and have a fair trial by jury. That's what the courts are for. You filed a case, you want it heard.
Wow.
And then if you have a trial by jury, the jury help make up the decision of what the end results of that actual case, would be. Even if I ask for 20, $35 million, they may up it to 50 million because of the damages done.
Wow.
And they have definitely done a lot of damages to me because in 2020, I found out that I was suffering with lung cancer due to exposure to asbestos, mesothelioma. And my doctors wanted me to take chemo, radiation, and all this other whatever.
And what year was that?
2020.
Okay.
And I nearly died this past March because of the stress and the weight of the responsibility of trying to carry out for the veterans and other things that I was doing. And then I finally had to step back and start taking care of myself. But I stood on this because I knew that there was a win-win situation in this situation. And now the judge and the lawyer knows that they can't not continue to violate me as a Black Afro-American woman, female, handicapped senior citizen, to stop me from exercising my right to petition the court and having a fair trial.
Wow.
Especially dealing with one of the second largest law firms in the state of Virginia.
So are you telling me little old you is taking on a whole law office that's the most second popular and you holding it down?
Yes, I am.
The whole law firm?
Yes, ma'am, because see, it came to a point in 2017 that the legal representative coerced the property manager to take out a criminal protective order on me, stipulating that I violently attacked her when nothing of the kind happened. I was engaging in the right in the middle of the fair housing investigation. So I submitted a motion to the judge and asked him to have this motion dismissed because I was engaging with fair housing and HUD. And once I went into the court to hear my case, when I got to the door, the actual door to enter before the judge, before you get to the bench, he held up my motion and said, "Young lady, we're going to do away with this. But you won. Now I want to hear from them." They brought part of the law firm in the court to try to undermine me, but not even understanding that the judge knew that if I filed a motion letting him know I'm engaging in a fair housing investigation. That's serious.
Wow.
And that lawyer should have known that, but he wanted to have his way and actually coerce the judge to allow him that criminal protective order. That judge had him upside down, crossways, and all of them in there, and he told them case dismissed.
Wow. Just like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you say just like that?
Just like that.
Yes,
he
and
did.
I love
You
it.
have
And
to,
I love it.
when you go in a court, please study the law. Whatever your case is about, study that law, because any civil matter that anyone has, you can take that civil matter without having an attorney and go before that judge, present your case, and end up winning.
Wow.
If you know you're right.
Wow. I believe so. I done did it multiple times. Stood in front of the judge and people with lawyers and won my own case. Knowing your law, documenting what's going on with you. Documentation is everything. Keeping your paperwork is everything. Guys, stop making phone calls. Stop talking to people. When you stop talking to people, you stop playing with people. As Dr. Anderson has shown us. You stop talking and you start writing.
And I'd like to add this also. This was so funny. And this is the United States District Court. I filed Eastern District in Norfolk. And these are my actual, one of the actual, don't mention it, but this is the law firm. Okay? What happened is, as of August 1st, the management went up on rent. Mm-hmm. They do that every year. So when they sent me a statement, I have never missed in the 18 years I was there. My rent went up an additional amount, but they're going to send me a statement, previous balance of $602.92 when that should be zero.
Wow.
I've never missed, so why am I being charged an extra fee and then a late fee for $25?
Wow.
My rent wasn't late. So why are you coming up with $652.92? They're trying to be sneaky by continuing to do this for the next year to build up a momentum of fees that I don't have to owe, to try to utilize that to have me evicted.
Wow.
But I'm way ahead of them.
You keep all your receipts?
I sure do.
Just like that?
Yes, I just like that.
And she said it here first on the Rhoda Young Live show. It's just like that. Find somebody to play with, but it won't be Dr. Anderson.
No, it won't.
Dr. Anderson said, y'all stop talking to people. Start writing and documenting everything that goes on. If you need to speak with your landlord, send them an email. Send them a text. Make a paper trail. Paper trails speak louder than words here in the beautiful city of Norfolk, Virginia. She want the federal judge to know, I'm not afraid of you either. We all have someone they have to answer to. Who will the federal judge answer to with this lawsuit that you brought forward?
The United States Appeals Court, because they've already appointed a judge to do the investigation, and he could actually lose his position at the federal court because this is the second time he's done this.
Wow.
So they're going to investigate the entire court.
Wow. You ain't playing with him?
No, ma'am.
At all?
None.
Wow.
I mean business. You're going to actually threaten me and do all kinds of things that is against the law and expect me to sip it up under straw. That don't happen. I start doing research to find out why this is happening and what I can do.
Wow.
Hold them accountable.
Hold them accountable.
Yes. And this right here is so important. Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, Federal Civil Rights Statute. These are the violation of my civil and constitutional right from the Norfolk FBI field office. And they violated all of them and some.
Wow. Wow.
That's in my case.
And you're asking for how much?
$35 million. And if I get before a trial by jury, it may go higher.
Wow.
Because of what I've had to go through.
Wow.
I'm out here with a rental car when they allow the next door neighbors to do damage to my car that it doesn't even, it's not operable anymore. They do everything. They put, oh my God, I could write a book.
Wow.
And one gentleman told me of the in the veterans case, said, Dr. Anderson, you are a legend, and no one will know what legend you are until you write that book.
Wow.
Because it will be a bestseller. And believe me, I've already started on it.
Wow, Dr. Anderson.
In my own words.
In your own words.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, that's amazing.
Hallelujah.
Do you feel as though you say everything you need to say today?
You know, it's so much to say. And I want to thank you, Rhoda, because you are a wonderful, beautiful, loving person.
Thank you.
And you always reach out for those who are feeling like, they have nowhere to turn. No one is listening to us. No one is going to do anything but allow this to continue. And I admire you for taking the initiative to go into your community and reach out, to others that are going through changes and then have no means of having anyone to understand exactly what they're going through. And you are actually bringing it out to the public, which is so important because our local media, you send things like this to them, and all they do is either trash it or put it aside, and you never hear anything about it. That is injustice.
Yes, ma'am. It really is.
Totally inappropriate.
It really is.
And we need to have more people like you. And I'm here to do whatever I can to support you because your fine looking husband, he's always there. I'm serious. I mean, and that's a blessing.
Thank you.
But to have a woman like you to be out there in this jungle and bringing forth the truth to make a difference mean a whole lot.
Thank you, Dr.
You
Anderson.
are a legend, and you need to write your book.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson.
Thank you.
I told you I do a lot for people, and a lot is not done for me. I keep my issues hidden, but I spoke with you on yesterday. I said it's about that time that I need help as well. I spoke to you about my story with Hampton Roads Transit that I hold so dear to my heart. And when I told you what they did, the unjust, the lies, and the conspiracy they committed against me, and I felt as though my case was closed, you explained to me that my case ain't closed because of what Hampton Roads Transit did to me was fraud. And you enlightened me and you engaged me to feel as though I had fire again against that company.
Definitely.
Fire. And that's why I feel the need to allow you to sit here and share your story, because when you have something that bothers you so bad, you have to attend to it.
You have to.
You had to. And you brought that fire back out of me.
Amen.
And I look forward on working with you and you assisting me to file the proper paperwork against Hampton Roads Transit.
Amen. Because, see, they damaged you.
Right.
They feel it happens all the time when no matter who we are human beings.
Right.
We are created by our Heavenly Father. And the fact to have people to harm you and do everything they can to destroy you, you have the right to initiate everything possible to find an avenue out in order to get your story out there to make them pay for the damages done to you as a human being.
Yes, and can I explain this to everybody? Because they might want to say, Rhoda, it's been about 3 years. Yes, it was 3 years ago. But it was almost, I gave them 14 years of my life. But 3 years ago, I was talked about, lied on, made fun of, harassed, bullied, and embarrassed. Mentally destroyed. Nobody would never understand what I went through here and here.
I know, Rhoda.
They broke me. Excuse me 1 second.
I know, honey.
Sorry. Guys, y'all gotta understand my fight. They broke me. Can you imagine working with over 500 co-workers and rumors said you threatening to blow up a company? You was the number one operator. Miss HRT, I was. I wore the chauffeur cap. I had badges all my years going down both of my arms. I stood slim in my uniform. If nobody else loved their job, I did. And just because of this Facebook, I went famous and jealousy was brought forth. They drugged me through the mud like they used to do slaves when they tied our arms behind our backs and drug us through the cotton fields. They drugged me through the mud. Nobody thought about the damaging and the damage it was doing to me. It was funny to everybody, but it wasn't funny to me. Many nights I cried. Many days I had to keep my head up and act as if these things was not happening to me and that I was not bothered. I had to act like I was stronger and I was better and it didn't hurt me. I was done in the inside, taking all kind of medication. Never took medication a day in my life. Anxiety medicine, depression medicine. That medicine was driving me more crazy than I thought I was already crazy. And that's why I am determined for the epitome of my guts to make them right they wrong. It was wrong what they done to me. It was a wrong that they allowed that white woman to target me and do me like that. My own black people. The president of HRT sat in his office and looked down on the operators and turned the other cheek as if it was okay. I could have killed myself. I mean, I could have killed myself. Many a nights. Many a nights I could have took my own life. That's what you call bullying. I was being bullied. My husband was still an employee there. My picture was plastered everywhere he turned. His wife picture was there. People pointing at him and laughing and talking about his wife. I could have lost it all. Houses and cars. No one cared. It was a joke. It was the biggest rumor had said. Nobody thought about Rhoda. Is Rhoda okay? Nobody thought about me. Y'all thought it was a joke because it wasn't you. God has said it. When you can't cry for somebody else, he'll make it that you'll cry for yourself. I let this thing go, but I ain't put it too far away. I'm coming back because I feel the fire in the inside of me. Okay? It was wrong what y'all done to me. And I won't allow y'all to continue to think what you done to me was okay. By now, y'all probably done ran into the break room, open them books where the passengers are banded off the bus, and you had me placed in there. Many days my cars broke down, and I can't even get on the city transit because I'm a threat to the city transit. I can't go out my door and ride the city transit. I can't get on the city transit bus. I can't stand on HRT property, and I haven't did anything to them. Can you imagine being guilty of a crime that you have not committed? Can you imagine? Imagine that. Imagine you can't even get on the city transit and you never even did anything to them. We have a light rail system that I can't even ride from downtown Norfolk to Virginia Beach because a white woman lied on me. And a black man allowed her to torture me, destroy me. She tried to kill me. She wanted me dead. They all wanted me dead. They dragged me through the mud. I survived. Then with my survival, I got to remind them what y'all done to me was unacceptable and no longer would it be tolerated. Not for me, but the next person that come behind me. It's not okay. It was no more Then what y'all do, the kids do, the kids in school, when kids go home and take a gun and put it to their head and blow their brains out. What they done to me. If it wasn't for the Lord on my side, I would not be here now. You have to be a person in the city of Norfolk, Virginia to know what they done to me. I would have did that to a dog that attacked one of my kids the way they done me. So I'm gonna be asking for $40 million. And I'm gonna put it on paper. And I'm gonna see them in court. Because not only do I know, every operator down there know what they done to me. Every supervisor know what they done to me. And what they done to me was unfair. They could have caused me to kill myself. And being that God had made me strong, you know what I did? Steve, can I get a tissue, baby? I built this platform. The man reminded me of Mr. Michael Muhammad the other day. When people ask me, how did I build my platform? And I keep asking people, I get stuck because I don't know. Mr. Michael Muhammad that's running for Super Ward District 7 told my story in my face. He told me my story. He said, you built your platform off of hurt and pain. I looked at that man, I'm like, how you know that? And he was right. That's how I built Road to Your Life TV. I was going through a storm. And what made them jealous about me, I worked harder on it. And that's how we came up with this platform. Every day I decided I was depressed, I would videotape. Facebook saved my life. I'm supposed to be dead. I should have been dead in 2019. But Facebook saved my life. They wanted me dead. That white woman tried to hang me off a tree while the black slave master stood underneath and looked up and allowed her to continue to do what she done to me. It's time to pay. It's time to pay. Y'all was wrong. I will always be Mrs. HRT, Hampton Roads Transit. I earned it. Y'all took the job, but y'all could take the love that I had for my job. And I make more money now not driving for HRT, so it's not about the job. I still have my CDLs, they're still +5. I can drive for anybody I want to. It's the principle of what y'all did to me, how y'all did it, and why y'all did it. I'm running your life. Dr. Anderson, thank you
Thank you.
for helping me.
And I will be here with you 100% because that was totally inappropriate. And then they committed fraud, and there's no statute of limitation on fraud. And you will win this case. And you want a trial by jury because you want this to be known that it never happened to anyone else because it was totally inappropriate.
Yes,
We have to stand for something or just go for anything. And we're not gophers. There's so many things, injustices out here, and people are crying out for help, and they're going into a actual brick wall, not knowing where else to turn. But there are things that you can do. Study the law that involves your situation, and believe me, you can come out a winner.
Thank you. Think anything else, Steve?